Welcome to Let Freedom Ring. We got security here. Again, we're keeping Soapy pre-op out. He's a coward anyways. He's never going to try to come back. We're not really too worried about it. But my guest this week, my good friend, Nate Kersting. Kersting. I said it like 9 times before we, But Nate, welcome to the show. Glad to have you, man.
Thank you.
Let's get to know you a little bit. I can't believe I did that. I can see Justin's laughing in the back right now. All right, where are you from? Where'd you grow up?
I'm basically from Manchester, Hooksett area. I was born in Hanover, New Hampshire, raised in Manchester until about the 4th grade, went to Hooksett. Stayed in Hooksett all throughout high school. Parents moved to Merrimack right at the end of high school. And then I moved in there, went to work, been at work ever since, and I still live in Manchester.
Nice. Now, growing up at Hooksett, did you go to one of the Manchester schools for that? Or is there a Hooksett High School?
See, there's always, I can never know if there's people say yes, people say no.
Yeah.
I went to Central.
Okay, that makes sense, yeah.
Best high school in the city.
Oh,
Yep.
There's a lot of competition in Manchester.
Yeah, class of 96.
96.
That's right.
Very good year. NWO's year, which we did have you on the NWO. I'm wearing it again because actually Bobby got us these nice shirts at the wedding.
I saw that.
But yeah, 96, very good year. Now, we used to say on the show, what's one thing that everybody should know about you? Didn't think it was enough. What's 3 things everybody should know about you?
Oh, geez. 3 things. Played softball for 23 years. Loved about 21 of those years. The final 2 years, kind of on the downslope.
Yeah.
Love animals. All kinds of animals except skunks. My dog loves them, apparently. I don't. The third is I love breweries and nachos.
All right. That's a good combo of things.
Breweries and nachos.
With soft, was it league ball that you didn't like at the end, or was it more because I know tournaments cause so much issues.
It was more tournament.
Yeah.
But when you're playing league ball with your tournament team,
you can't get away from them.
you can't. Well, not that you can't get away from them. It's the same issues that persist throughout league ball and then into the tournaments.
Yeah.
And it's just, it just got to be too much. So I was just like, I gotta walk away.
Yeah, fair enough. I mean, I wish Tap House could have survived. I do blame Chris Derby for that. I think we had plenty of years left with that team.
I think we could have done good.
So, but that league is now dead.
Yeah.
The Sunday morning men's league is just gone, which, I mean, that happens. Leagues come and go sometimes. But sticking with the league, the theme of the show. What does it mean to you to be an American?
What it means to me to be an American, just have freedom of choice, freedom to, say what you want, and hopefully not get judged. But there's always that along the way. But just go about and live your life.
No, I like that answer. I mean, we got a lot of people. It's funny because I feel like as Americans we always complain about things going on here. Yet you have so many people, like you look at these Haitian refugees trying to get, it's like people want to be here.
Yeah.
It's like maybe we don't have it as bad as, everybody says. Now, I'm not saying everybody in the country. There's definitely have some issues with, social classes and things like that. But as a whole, yeah, there is opportunity here if you take it. Getting into current events, you're a big wrestling fan like me. We had you on the NWO episode. Very controversial episode of Dark Side of the Ring came out last week. Now, have you been watching a lot of the Dark Side of the Rings? Now, I think we're in the 3rd season of this.
Yes, I've been keeping up with them.
Yeah, and tonight it's going to be the story of Chris Canyon. Which should be awesome. Very interesting. But the plane ride from hell in 2002 took place. WWE, or they were still the WWF for like another day.
Right.
They toured Europe. They got delayed a little bit. A lot of booze was drank. A lot of crazy shenanigans happened on this plane ride from hell. I'd never known too much about it. You'd always have Kurt Hennig claiming that he took Brock Lesnar down at 35,000 feet on TNA. But yeah, first, what were your thoughts of the episode? And then I just kind of want to talk to some people that were involved in it.
I mean, I thought it was a great episode. It shed a lot of light on something we knew little about. Yeah, I wasn't aware of everyone that was on the plane until this episode. So it was nice to see who was, not involved, but participants along the way in regards to, in the plane. It's a crazy episode, though.
Yeah, like I didn't know Tommy Dreamer was on the plane. You knew about Brock Lesnar. They didn't talk about Kurt Angle wrestling Vince McMahon on that.
Nope, not at all.
Which
they barely referenced Vince.
Yeah, because they're saying Vince wasn't really around. But just talk about a few things that happened. The first one that's been the big one. This has been all over the internet. Ric Flair. Now everybody knows that Ric Flair has been a big partier in his life, a womanizer in his life that he's admitted. Now Ric Flair in 2002 was like in his 50s. Now the stewardess, is the stewardess? Yeah, stewardess.
It was stewardess.
Yeah, flight attendant, whatever you want to call them, claims that Ric Flair, which not out of the realm of stories of Ric Flair, was walking around naked underneath his robe.
I've heard many stories of different
times he's done
Different times he's done it, yes.
Yeah, so, I mean, if you ever read his book, I mean, to be honest, when I started hearing this, I go, I'm not too shocked. Now, here's where it gets a little bit dicier. The flight attendant claims that he cornered her and tried to get her to touch him. What was your take on that? I mean, that was like the bombshell. A lot of people were like, and it didn't shock me personally, knowing some of the stories about Ric Flair.
To me, when it was said, didn't really surprise me. I mean, if you're walking around naked under a robe, you're looking for something. So when that was said, I wasn't too shocked that it supposedly happened. Can't really say that it did because you're only getting one side publicly right now. But I mean, if it did, and you had a plane full of people that are just standing by, that's a little crazy.
Yeah, because she does claim that Dustin Reynolds, Goldust, was the only one that said, "Hey, leave her alone."
Right, because he was on the microphone at the time.
Yeah,
singing.
He was singing, doing all kinds of stuff. But Rob Van Dam verified the story on the episode, saying, "No, that's what happened." He's kind of backtracking. Flair's now claiming that RVD is trying to destroy him. End of the day, though, you can't be doing that.
No, not at all.
That's really unacceptable behavior. But
no matter what year.
Yeah, no, I know that we're because I also said this to a lot of people. I go, the WWE or WWF at the time, if you actually watch their programming and how they treated women on television, it's not unlikely that stuff behind the scenes was going on like this.
Oh, yeah.
You had bra and panty matches. You had Vince telling, he made Trish Stratus bark like a dog. Like, they were very demeaning.
The mud wrestling matches.
Mud wrestling matches, pig pen matches with,
Yep.
They're very demeaning towards women on television. You could only imagine what was going on in the backstage.
Well, I'm assuming that you're allowing us to do this to you on TV.
Yeah.
Well, you should be allowed to allow us to do this backstage.
Yeah,
I'm sure that was the mindset.
Yeah. I mean, cause, and that's one thing, because we talk about Ric Flair, we're talking about a flight attendant that doesn't know who he is. Or maybe she knows who he is, but she's not friends with him. Not saying that you do that to a friend or anything like that, but I'm saying she doesn't know this guy from a hole in the wall.
Right.
But then you have another story of Brock Lesnar, who we're going to talk about kind of what he did on the plane. Terry Reynolds claims that he was flashing his penis at her on a regular basis behind the scenes. I know Brock's at 25 at this point, new into the business. What's your take on that? I'd heard this story before, that he had done things like this, but my God.
Never heard the story before until the show.
Yeah.
And I mean, if that's the case, excuse me, I don't know why he would get a pass and Flair wouldn't. I mean, basically exposing yourself to a female
And
one way or the other.
And Terry was clearly said she was uncomfortable with it.
Yeah.
You know, but the things that they had her doing on television at that point was pretty demeaning towards her too. I don't think Brock Lesnar deserves a pass. He's not going to say anything.
No.
Brock never does.
No, no one gets it. No one should get a pass.
Yeah. I mean, it was 20 years ago, so you really kind of got to go, okay, do people change? I think Brock Lesnar is a family man who just wants to be left alone. You know, he's probably the same guy he was at 25.
Oh, I'm sure.
But that gets us into the guy who really took the most heat on the episode, the innovator of violence, Tommy Dreamer, who I've met, and he was one of the nicest wrestlers you could ever meet. But Dreamer didn't do anything necessarily on the plane. He downplayed what the accusations against Flair.
Correct.
And almost victim-shamed the flight attendant. Now, one thing to say there, when they film these episodes, Tommy doesn't know what she's saying in her interview. Do you know what I mean? Because she was very, like, I mean, she was pretty serious in it. And then Tommy downplayed and said, well, everybody gets offended by everything, and, you know, I've never seen Ric Flair do this. He's suspended by Impact Wrestling. Said these were comments that do not reflect them. Is Tommy taking the heat for something Flair did because his comments just, it almost like he wasn't thinking before he spoke?
Oh, pretty much. No doubt he's getting all the heat. I'm sure Flair's getting a little because I know he's getting dropped from certain things. But overall, I think Dreamer's getting most of the heat and all the backlash. He probably didn't think before he spoke. But at the same time, heat of the moment, you know, you asked a question, you just roll with it, and that unfortunately that's what came out.
Yeah, because he's talking about people getting offended. He's comparing it to like his haircut,
his ponytail,
yeah,
his double ponytail.
I'm like, well, Tommy, borderline sexual assault and your haircut are not in the same. Like, where are you going with this? To not make Tommy Dreamer look good in 2021.
One too many chair shots.
Yeah, but the other thing is, again, I know this is the year 2021 now, but what was he doing in ECW? That was very degrading to women, what they were doing. He was beating women up in ECW.
I was going to say, it seemed like all the promotions at that point were pretty much, degrading towards females.
It's not, like, to me, like, I think everything that's happened in that, but I'm like, if you saw what was going on television, why are we shocked by this behavior in the backstage? I don't know. That's just the way I kind of looked at it. Again, Kurt Hennig and Brock Lesnar almost opening the door. That's pretty terrifying. I just want to briefly talk about Scott Hall. What was your take on that? Now, she said like Scott tried to lick her or something like that when she tried to wake him up for breakfast. Not too shocking for Scott Hall back then.
No, not at all. I mean, from what they showed, that he had to be helped out and on a wheelchair and basically pushed through customs. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if he never woke up when she tried to wake him.
Yeah.
But at the same point, he could have woke up for a brief moment not knowing who's doing what to him. And, you know, when you're that inebriated, you see things.
Now, he claims that Hennig maybe gave him some, was it GHB? Yeah.
Yeah.
Which apparently, behind the scenes in wrestling, was a big thing they would do to each other.
Yeah. They drop him in the drinks.
Yeah, I thought that was one of the worst things I had heard. Because everybody knows that's a date rape pill. And they're doing it to each other on a weekly basis.
Right.
To try to get someone to pass out. Like, what the heck was going on in these locker rooms, you know?
I mean, no holds barred.
Yeah, it's just crazy. I mean, I think Dark Side of the Ring is really opening up our eyes to what was going on back then. Scott Hall obviously had a lot of problems. I mean, basically, 10 years ago at Top Rope Promotions, they had to carry him to the ring. He still had the arm bracelet from being in the hospital the night before.
I remember that.
You know, and that's a local company around here. Last take I want to get. Michael P.S. Hayes.
Ponytail.
Yeah, one of the backstage guys, X-Pac cuts off his ponytail. We also want to be clear, Hayes had already punched JBL in the mouth. Any take on X-Pac cutting off his ponytail there?
I mean, I believe did Hayes say that he felt he was drugged?
There was
I
talk
believe
of
he
that too.
felt like so. I mean, at the same time, I mean that's kind of, I would say ballsy.
Yeah,
Cutting off another man's hair.
and a guy that can control your career that's in creative.
And then they tape it to a door the next day.
Oh my God. Oh, it's so bad.
I mean, yeah.
And then you got Jim Ross talking about, I never want to talk about this ever again because it all fell on him.
Oh yeah.
He was
he had to fire.
He fired Scott Hall.
He fired Scott Hall.
Fired Kurt Hennig.
And he gave a pass to Ric Flair.
And Ric Flair had no consequences, yet the WWE paid out the flight attendant.
Right, so that they didn't have to go to
and he had no punishment. And they said, I guess Ric Flair's just a made man.
Yep.
Crazy story. We'd heard about the plane ride from hell for a long time.
With very few details.
Yeah, very few. You kind of look to Vince McMahon on this and go, man, you got in trouble for steroids at one point and all these other things. How are you not knowing your wrestlers are drugging each other, like on a consistent basis?
I'm pretty sure he did.
And just let it go.
Well, if you remember, Jim Ross said that Vince was at I believe, the front of the plane.
Yeah.
And that he wouldn't go back to address anything. He kept telling Jim Ross,
you got to handle it.
You got to handle it.
Yeah.
So he had to know what was going on.
What a crazy story. The Dark Side of the Ring is really, I highly recommend watching this show if you haven't seen it. Tonight it's going to be Chris Kanyon, who he claims, like Chris Kanyon was very, did not want people to know his sexuality.
Yep.
Claims that he was fired by WWF or WWE for being gay, which I find a little hard to believe just because Pat Patterson was upper management and was openly gay.
Yeah.
But we're going to learn a lot about Chris Kanyon tonight, and I'm really excited about it because he was the innovator of offense.
I've been waiting for this episode.
Yeah, it's going to be good. All right, getting into not too much. Any take on the president's job so far, President Biden?
I haven't really paid it. I try not to watch the news.
Yeah.
Because you never know what's true, fake, whatever. So I just kind of stick to local news. But, I mean, I don't know.
Yeah, fair enough. And I just had one other question. I ask this a lot. Why do you think that I don't think you're really on any side.
No.
Of the aisle.
No.
What causes us to be
I'm
so
on my
divided?
side.
Yeah. I'm feeling more and more like that all the time myself. Right? Any reason you think we are so divided?
Man, the views don't align.
Yeah.
Certain people want certain things and take the power away from people making these decisions. Goes over here, take away that, goes over there, but not everybody. We need everybody just to be on the same page. Yeah,
it's almost impossible to do.
I don't think it'll ever happen, but
it hasn't been since we even started, since we declared our independence. So, all right, let's get into fan questions because you got a bunch of them. First one is from Paul Agresti. Is that what Paul says it?
Paul.
He just said victory. So Paul's happy that you're on the show.
Yeah, all right. Thank you, Paul.
So thank you for the shout out, Paul, for Nate.
Yep.
Chris Derby, who I guess he's a huge fan of yours. Huge fan of yours. Some would say.
I think he stalks me at times.
That could possibly be happening. If you ever see someone driving by your house slow, it's probably Chris Derby.
I get that a lot.
Oh, so you could be. Start, set up a security camera or something.
I might have to, and have to approach him on this one.
Yeah, Chris, you can't stalk people. That's very frowned upon. But he wants to know, how did Nate get so sexy?
I mean,
it's almost hitting on you, basically.
That's what I feel like. My wife might be a little.
And she's got the next question, so
of all people, geez. I mean, that's kind of like a hidden secret right there. But, years of softball and beer,
That's all it takes.
That's really all it takes. Softball beer, maybe a couple plates of nachos. You know, not too much exercise.
Yeah, I mean, whatever you're doing, Derby's into it. So.
Hey, at least someone is.
All right, now this one is coming from your wife, Katie Haley Kersting.
Kersting.
Why am I remembering it? Yeah.
I should just let you go with it.
Man, I just saw Justin's face on that. He's giving me the, how are you messing this up every time? Kersting. She wants to know, if Nate could sit down and have a drink with any baseball player, who would it be? And what would he want to know the most of all, what would he be drinking?
Let's see.
Kersting.
Yes.
Kersting. I got to say it. Yeah, okay.
You got to verbalize it.
I am struggling today. Oh, my goodness.
All right, so one baseball player I would sit down with would probably be, I would have to say, that's a good question. I'd probably say Albert Pujols.
Oh.
Yeah, I'd say Pujols. Now, is it what I would be drinking or what he would be drinking?
Well, first he wants to know, what would you want to know?
I mean...
Does it depend on how many drinks you have, or...?
No. No, I mean, I wouldn't go overboard talking to him because I wouldn't want to, be the slur guy and be like, But I'd probably have maybe one or two drinks with him. And I'd really like to know how because he came up to the Cardinals. I think it was on, I want to say maybe the tail end of the McGuire.
He had to be on the 06 one. He's definitely on the 06 team.
Yeah, I mean.
Yeah, he might have replaced McGuire.
Yeah, I mean, it would just be fun to know, like, your preparation, because he was just nonstop. And the fact that he did it without any enhancers, as some people like to think he did, it's just amazing. And the fact that he's found a resurgence with the Dodgers right now.
Oh, he's having a good year?
Yep.
Okay.
And he's actually bouncing back pretty well. So, the guy's got legs. He's like the Tom Brady of the baseball.
Well, the thing is, you can't be a home run hitter now in baseball without people suspecting something.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
it's ridiculous.
It's crazy that 10-year deal was up, because I remember when he signed that, and I go, oh, man, they're still giving out 10-year deals. I felt like it was never going to end. I
didn't even realize it was up until he got pretty much let go.
Yeah.
Because he was in his, I think, 9th, 10th, might have been 10th year.
10th year. Signed in 2012, right?
Yeah, so I was just like, whoa, felt like a fast 10 years for him.
It did.
But it was good to see that someone picked him up. I was more surprised it was a National League team, because I figured an American League team would use him as a DH.
Yeah.
So to see that it was a National League team pick him up, I was kind of bummed it wasn't the Cardinals again.
Yeah, see him go back there.
I'd like to see him go back.
Yeah, I mean, I just remember him signing that contract, because I thought the 10-year deals were going to end, and I never thought that one was a good deal. And I think he was all right for a little bit, but he wasn't the best player on that team. Mike Trout.
But it seems like all the long-term deals, the player fizzes out in year 3.
Yeah. It's just too much. I couldn't imagine being a team. I know baseball has done a salary cap, so it's like they get away with it a little bit more. But 10 years is a long time. What would you be drinking with Albert Pujols?
What would I be drinking? I would be having some Miller Lights.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, way to keep it real on that. Well, I like that.
That's my go-to beer, Miller Lights. I didn't want to get too intricate with drinks, but Miller Lights.
All right. Now, I got a kind of a lengthy question from Leo Connors, former guest of the show multiple times. Because when we promoted the show, we did talk about, you've been a Buccaneers fan, not when Tom Brady came. You've always been a Buccaneers fan.
I've always been a Bucs fan, yeah.
So Leo wants to know, and here we go, because he wrote me like a paragraph on this one. No shame in being a Brady band jumper. All he's done in New England for the New England Patriots organization and fans, sad to see people forget all he's done and don't support him. Okay, I agree. Only time I'll ever root against him is when he plays the Pats, which is coming up next week. Okay, done with that. Nate, how excited were you when Brady signed with Tampa Bay, and how many more championships do you think he will help win? Go Bucks, but really go Brady.
How excited was I? Stoked. Stoked. I couldn't deal with famous Jameis.
Oh, God.
I don't think I could have done another year of 30 interceptions.
Yeah.
Or 30 turnovers, however you want to put it. So, seeing the Brady went to the Bucks, I was loving it. I know what he can do. You know, I wasn't dumb to New England. I would watch the games. So,
you live here, yeah.
You know, I live in a house with Pats fans, so you know. I was stoked that he signed there, and I was bummed that they didn't have an off season, that they really couldn't do anything. So, beginning of the season was kind of frustrating, but the way they finished out was worth it.
I mean, they beat some really good teams on the way to the Super Bowl.
Yeah, they beat three MVPs.
Yeah.
He beat 3 MVPs in the last 3 games.
Yeah, that was absolutely insane. Did you have any concerns about his age?
No. I'll tell you why. Because he looks like he's 35.
Yeah, he does.
You know, it's not like he looked like Favre as he was aging.
Yeah.
Or Manning with no arm. This guy looks like he's getting stronger.
It's unreal. It's almost unreal. I mean, Guerrero, his trainer there, came out today and said, you know, Belichick was treating him like he was still in his 20s.
Yeah, Belichick didn't evolve with Brady.
Yeah, which I'm like, okay, but he's the coach. I've been arguing with a lot of people about Tom Brady lately. And when it comes to the Patriots letting him go or not paying him. I was at his last game in Gillette. He didn't look like a guy that wanted to come back. That team wasn't good. Like that team last year, I think he would have won more games than Cam, but he wouldn't have won a Super Bowl with them.
No.
So he's got to have that win now mentality. So did the Patriots really let him go, or did Brady find a better opportunity to get to the Super Bowl?
I think Brady saw the writing on the wall, decided, hey, I'm free agent. I can go anywhere I want. So let's see who wants me. And if they have a good enough team, and better team got him.
Yeah, and I just want to say, teams weren't lining up to sign him.
No.
They were not. So, you know, we get all this criticism towards Bill Belichick. And I just want to say, like, no coach or GM is looking at a 42-year-old quarterback being like, this is the future. How could you? How is he doing what he's doing? It just doesn't even make any sense. It defies...
Avocados.
Yeah.
Avocados.
Well, you better be careful. I've heard there's been a shortage. So, I hear it a lot from my friends that are not Patriots fans.
Yeah.
And they're like, well, Bill Belichick's an idiot. I go, okay, I think any franchise probably would have looked at it the same way. I know Tom Brady's won all these things, but again, teams weren't lining up to sign him when he went to free agency. It was like the Bucks and I don't know.
I thought he might be going over to the 49ers.
Yeah.
And then Garoppolo would be coming back.
That would have been interesting.
That's what I thought would happen, and then all of a sudden Bucks appeared, and I'm like, ooh, go for it.
Yeah, I mean, that story hit, and then it was like the next day he was signed. Yeah, just kind of, it's crazy.
He gets signed, Gronk gets signed.
Gronk came out of retirement.
Oh, that was a no-brainer.
I know he didn't want to play for Belichick anymore.
Yeah. Maybe Edelman will come back.
I think he's done. He's getting honored this weekend, too.
Yeah, that doesn't mean anything.
I think he's had, I don't know, with his injuries, I think he just wants to be.
Yeah, but because he's on the retired list, he can use whatever methods he needs to recoup.
True. No, that's true. But Gronk was still pretty healthy. Like, I mean, he had a lot of injuries through the years, but...
I think Gronk's the healthiest he's been in a couple of years.
Yeah.
This year.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting. It's going to be, you know... Oh, we didn't answer this one question.
Oh, how many more?
How many more?
So...
He'll be 45 next year.
He's 45 next year?
Yes, he's 44 right now.
44. So, I say if he decides he wants to keep playing, they have an opportunity to this year and possibly the next 2 years.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
That's what I see.
You could see him winning a Super Bowl at 46 years old?
Oh, yeah. If he has the proper offensive line to protect him, so he's not taking shots, course.
Okay. I mean,
But at that time, they got to, because not all, so they brought everybody back.
Yeah.
But most people, I believe, are on like 1 or 2 year deals. So they're going to have to do this all over again in like 2 years. So hopefully they can get the majority of them back. Otherwise, I think he may look to just call it quits.
Or could you imagine him going to another team after this?
That team would have to be loaded.
Yeah. It's insane. I can't wait for next weekend. It's gonna be the first time I've ever had to be like root against Tom, because I didn't root against him last year.
Yeah.
I don't want to see him lose. He's my favorite player of all time, but he's coming into our house. This is our house. We're New Englanders. You were a plant all these years, Tom, from California. So you're in our house next week. But Darlene Dixon wants to know, rank your favorite breweries in order 1 through 10. Do you have 10? That's quite a bit.
That's quite a bit. I could probably give you 5.
Okay.
I'll go 5 because I could probably give you 5 right off. So 1 through 5. So I'll go with 1 being Pipe Dream.
Ooh, and those are heavy.
But they're so good. They have such good sours there.
Oh yeah.
2 is Definitive. They're out of Kittery in Portland, Maine.
Okay.
They got some good stuff there. 3 would be Able.
Yes. Local to Merrimack.
Yep.
Shout out to Abel Ebenezer.
Sponsored to softball, too.
That's true. Those jerseys were nice.
They were very nice. 4 would be the 603.
Oh, yes.
And then 5 would be Kelson.
Okay. Where's that?
I believe Kelson's out of Derry.
Okay.
Derry, London, Derry.
Because I didn't realize. I mean, there's all these breweries like in this area, not necessarily like in Merrimack, but like Salem, Derry.
Oh, there are
all these surrounding towns.
Yeah, you get some. There's some that are just popping up on like side streets in Manchester.
Yeah,
there's one that popped up on Union Street. I forget the name of it, but I got to try it. Then you get the Hop Knot in Manchester.
Oh,
never been there. So yeah, it's a trendy thing.
It is, and I gotta give a shout out to Abel Ebenezer because they've really, it's been a good amount of years now, and they jumped on during the pandemic. Can't come to our brewery? We'll bring it to you.
Yes.
That was awesome.
Yeah, Pipe Dreams did the same thing.
Oh, they did?
Yeah, they did deliveries as well.
Yeah, that was very, very smart because I remember like at times where like even remember when it first broke out, it's like even going to Target, you're like, all right, don't touch anything except what you're taking home.
Right.
You know?
Don't look through stuff.
Yeah. Oh, they can bring the beer to me? All right, I'll be all right.
Yeah.
Let's get into sports. Now, you kind of have an interesting... We had my buddy Cam Bernazzani on last week. You know, he was a Browns fan, Yankee fan, Bruins fan, and he doesn't really care about basketball.
So he's all over.
Kind of like you.
I would say like me.
What are your 4 teams, and how did you become fans of them?
All right, so we'll start with football.
Yeah.
Bucks. Bucks, I basically became a fan. I mean, growing up, I would watch football. I would watch the Patriots with my family here. But I really became a Bucks fan when I went down. I'd go down to Florida to visit my grandfather every year.
Okay.
So we'd actually just sit and listen or watch games and just hang out together. So that was really meaningful to me. So I just fell in love with the team.
Random question. Which Super Bowl win did you like better? The one that happened in 2003 or the one that just happened?
I would say 2003.
They beat the crap out of the Raiders.
Oh yeah, and it's all. I mean, it's just no different. It's really no different than what took place here. It's a pretty defensive game.
Yeah.
Both games, but I think 2003 because it was first.
Yeah, you can never beat the first.
No.
And I mean, in the Raiders' defense, they took John Gruden. He knew what that team. He was their coach the year before.
Yep.
You know. But anyways, your other teams.
So for basketball, I grew up a Celtics fan. I did follow during high school, my high school years. I did follow along with Portland Trailblazers.
Oh.
When, the Drexler years.
Yeah.
Because he was always my favorite player. But you can't beat a good Bird game.
No.
No.
No, he was intense.
Note that starting 5 for the Celtics.
And Portland was always in it, even when the Bulls were like dominant.
Yeah.
They would get
Yeah,
knocked
'cause-
off by them a lot.
Yeah, unfortunately.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, but you know,
Yeah.
yeah, Celtics are always big in my house. Whether it was during dinner or whatever, TV was on, Celtics were going, family was hollering.
Yeah.
Hockey never really got into.
Yeah.
You
I'm
know,
not a diehard hockey.
I'm not a diehard hockey fan. I follow the Bruins every now and then.
Yeah.
Like if they're on, I'll just watch. I can't see where the puck goes because it's always going too fast for me. But I give it a shot. You know, I do my best with hockey.
Hockey is a game where, like, when you're there, it's so much easier than
Yeah.
watching on TV.
Yeah,
You know.
I'll give you that.
And baseball, wearing the shirt.
Baseball, St. Louis Cardinals. Red Sox are a close second now.
Okay.
You know, I started allowing them into my my home.
Yeah.
You know, but yeah, Cardinals. I never really got into baseball, watching baseball really until about high school.
Okay.
I mean, I played it as a kid, and Babe Ruth and all that, but you know, watching it was never really my thing. And then high school, I just started getting into it a little bit more, and I just started, you know, falling in love with the Cardinals. You know.
Arusa, he was a coach around there.
Yep.
Yep.
You know, Edmonds and those guys.
I mean, I loved McGuire growing up. I mean, I was always like fanhood. Braves were on TBS. You could barely watch the Red Sox. So I was like a Red Sox fan, but I couldn't watch them all the time because I loved baseball as a kid. Loved it. But I could watch the Braves every night. So I still have a soft spot for the Braves.
I mean, they had a good team.
They were really good back then.
I love their rotation.
Yeah. And I mean, those first runs, they didn't get Maddox until, I don't know, maybe 93? Maybe he got him 93. Maybe it was not. It was maybe. I don't want to say it was 94, the strike year, but I mean, he was definitely there for the World Series. But they were good before that.
Yeah, they had a solid team before that.
Yeah, it was Glavine and Schmaltz. Schmaltz were awesome.
Yeah, and then you had Avery.
Yeah. Yes, Avery. Yeah.
There was a fourth. I just can't put my finger on it.
I can't remember it now.
Glavine, Avery, Smoltz, Maddox.
Those are the top three, and then there's some other guys that kind of came in.
Yeah.
But I could tell you, I mean, Greg Olson behind the plate, Sid Bream at first,
Sid Bream.
Mark Lemke at second, shortstop Jeff Blauser, Terry Pendleton at third, David Justice in left.
I want to say left. You had Ron Gant.
Ron Gant right, and center was Otis Nixon.
Yep.
And I remember being really excited when Braves would come to the Red Sox because my dad would always take me to the games. And all of a sudden the Red Sox signed like Otis Nixon. I was like, oh my God, we get to see Otis Nixon play for the Red Sox. Then they signed Mark Lemke. And I was like, neither one had lengthy careers with the Red Sox. Jeff Reardon was a relief pitcher that came over. So I used to get so excited when because then you could start watching them both. We didn't have Nesson, but like there was like Channel 15. You could sometimes watch them or something. So I get all excited when a Brave would come to the Red Sox.
Yeah, because you get to see it.
Yeah. So, but no, fanhood is very interesting in like how people become fans of teams.
Yeah, it's always interesting to find out like what drove you to become a fan of this team.
Yeah.
Even though it's not your hometown team.
Yeah, because I mean, the Braves are the only non-hometown team.
Hometown teams are too easy to root for.
Yeah, but I feel like me personally, like my identity is being from New Hampshire.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And being a New Englander. But I do love Notre Dame. I've always loved Notre Dame. And they're not around here. But I think Notre Dame, because they're Irish, the Irish,
Yeah.
you have so many New Englanders that love Notre Dame. You know, and I just fall into it. And plus they're on NBC.
Yeah. College football I could never get into. I follow Ohio State only because of the coach.
Yeah.
He graduated 1 year after me. So.
Oh, really?
Yep.
Because who else was from New Hampshire? He didn't pan out with the Eagles there.
Yes, of course, Chip Kelly.
Chip Kelly. Terrible NFL coach. Terrible NFL coach.
He was good at Oregon.
He was very good there, but my God, when he came to the Eagles, he started just trading everybody away. It was like, wait, what are you doing, dude?
I'm going to run my Oregon offense here.
Yeah, like, this is the NFL. Before we go on one other thing, I just want to say someone overheard Urban Meyer saying coaching in the NFL is like playing Alabama every single week. You know,
That's pretty true.
do you have a prediction for the World Series?
Oh boy, World Series. As of right now, my Cardinals are in a wild card spot.
All right.
But see, I think National League will come from the West. I think the Giants are going to make it, and from the American League, oh boy, that's a toss-up. But
The AL East has been.
AL East is a beast.
You know, so I'm gonna be honest. I haven't watched really much this year. I'm going to the game tomorrow.
Oh,
And you know, again, I was watching AEW last night, and my mom texted me. It was like, "You realize like you're going to a really big game tomorrow?" I was like, "Oh," or not tomorrow, but on Friday.
yeah.
I was like, "Man, I don't know why I don't pay attention like I used to. Like, baseball was everything to me, and these days I just don't. I don't know what it is.
Yeah, Sox are up 2 in the win column on the Yankees.
You always gotta love that." What did you think of the NFL in week 2? Any takes? So I know it's fairly early.
It is early. Panthers are surprising.
Yeah.
I didn't actually think they would. Rookie head coach, figured, and Sam Darnold. You know, not always the,
Yeah.
the greatest combo, but
No.
you know, you put a playbook together for the right quarterback, and you know that's what you get. And yeah, I mean, I was surprised the Chiefs lost.
But they'll be in it still.
They'll be in it to the
Yeah.
end. Kickers are back as normal, missing field goals and extra points, which is good to see.
Yeah.
Not everything's a given,
Yep. I like that.
especially Dallas's kicker.
Oh my God.
He saved me.
I just want Dallas to lose every single game possible.
Oh, I would love it. I have a buddy of mine in Florida that's a diehard Cowboy fan. I ride him all the time about it, and
Yeah.
we had a little friendly wager going on week 1, and didn't realize he fell asleep in the third quarter.
Oh jeez.
So I'm like texting him like, oh, I can't believe this is happening. I'm like, oh, touchdown, this is the greatest thing, blah, blah, blah. So, with 2 minutes left, I'm sitting there, I'm like, oh, it's looking like I'm going to be wearing, because we said we would have to wear each other's jersey.
Oh no.
The other
That
team's jersey.
kind of bet. Oh boy.
Yeah, so I'm like, 2 minutes left, I'm like, messaging him, I'm like, oh, looks like get your jersey ready or send a jersey up to me, blah, blah. And then, 3 seconds later, I'm like, oh, look who's wearing the jersey now.
Yeah.
He woke up the next morning, he was all upset. And I'm like, oh.
That's a bet.
You give me 2 minutes, I'll give you a win.
Sounds like the Cowboys fans tend to fall asleep. Shout out to Lori Poulin, who also went to bed during that game. She let us all know on Facebook. I said, "Oh, real fan here." But what are your top 5 sports moments as a fan?
Top 5 sports moments? I'd say the Buccaneers Super Bowls would rank up there. Watching the Cardinals win the World Series is up there. And it's always good to see your teams win it, especially when you don't know if they're ever going to do it again.
Yeah.
Especially the Bucs, because they always had the worst losing record ever.
Yeah, they were the
worst
worst.
losing percentage.
Yeah.
Or-
They didn't start. Weren't they the only team to? They were the first team to not win a game this season, right?
I believe
Their
so.
debut seation?
Yeah.
And
yeah.
then
Oh, yeah. And then Detroit match.
Leave it up to the Lions to match that.
Leave it to the Lions. Yeah, I think the sports moments. It doesn't have to necessarily be for sports.
No, it could be whatever.
It could be anything. So I think Hogan joining
The
NWO is kind of big for that industry.
Oh, it's huge.
It did change the face of it. So that's a top moment. Just Tyson losing. That was a big moment.
To Buster Douglas?
Buster Douglas.
Oh, yeah, because wasn't Tyson doing cocaine all night the night before or something?
It wouldn't surprise me
or
if he
something along
was.
those lines?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, he was dropping people left and right and within a minute 30 in every first round fight. And then Buster Douglas, I think he was an unknown.
Yeah.
Kind of, comes in and not today.
Some people say that was like the worst thing that happened to him because he just didn't care after that. He's like, well, I've done it. I beat Tyson.
Yeah.
Because I think he came back, he was like overweight. And
Oh, he
else.
was, he was a shell of himself.
Yeah, like.
Yeah, it was bad.
I guess if you knock out Mike Tyson, you're like,
what else can you do?
Left? You know?
Yeah. I've reached the pinnacle there.
Yeah. I'm gonna now we have fun. You know.
I got all the money on that one.
Yeah. That was, what year was that? Do you remember?
Not off the top of my head.
Yeah, like that was
back in the day.
Yeah. Any other moments that stick out in your head?
Not really.
It's funny because you mentioned Hogan. You know, CM Punk is now signed with AEW after a 7-year layoff. He is now the same age that Hogan was when Hogan joined the NWO, which is kind of crazy to think about.
It is crazy.
Speaking of AEW, we're 2 years into it. What are your thoughts on AEW so far? I mean, it's been we got Kenny Omega and Cody Rhodes, two of the owners and founders of AEW.
Correct.
On the table here. Yeah, what are your thoughts so far?
Ballsy move to start it up. You know, I think it's what's needed. You know, you can only. Some people say you can only take so much of just WWE. You know, being out there, there's no one there to compete. You know, because you don't really consider Impact a competitor.
At one point, maybe. And then, yeah.
You know, then it just quickly.
When they went head to head, I went, get Hulk Hogan out of Dixie Carter's ear right now.
Yeah, yeah. But no, AEW 2 years, awesome promotion. I kind of tune into it more than I do WWE.
Yeah.
It just seems like it's more authentic.
Yeah.
Authentic to me.
That's a good way to put it.
There's more storytelling and not over-the-top characters. It's not all about just, like, some guy dressed up like a dragon or something.
Yeah.
You know? It's more believable.
Yeah. Oh, I definitely feel that way, yeah.
Yeah.
And they're allowed to cut promos that aren't scripted for them.
Oh, Miro's promos are priceless.
Yeah, like, all of them. Like, Miro,
Yeah.
MJF, CM Punk, obviously, now that they have him.
Yeah, I mean, there's some that they have to keep an eye on.
Yeah. Well, something's going to happen on Rampage tomorrow with Max Caster.
Yeah.
I like the Acclaimed. Big fan of theirs.
Yep.
Up and coming tag team. One other thing that they really do well in AEW is with the dark elevation and dark. I know they're on YouTube, but you get to see a lot of indie talent get to be featured. So we're seeing a lot of guys that wrestle in this area be asked to come to AEW and it makes it more fun to watch those because you're like, man, JT Dunn is on the show tonight. Like, yeah, I want to watch this. Or Mike Verna.
It's still, even for those two shows, it's still some of it is storyline driven into the other shows.
Yeah.
So they kind of know how to meld it all together.
Well, they got a rivalry with Sonny Kiss and Joe Janela that's actually pretty interesting. And they have Kayla Rossi. I guess she's from Derry.
Really?
And a bunch of people at softball were asking me the other day, like, yo, do you know who Kayla Rossi is? I grew up with her, and she's wrestling for AEW. I'm like, and I just said yes, but I didn't know who she was at the moment. And then I was like, oh, yeah.
That's what I do to you sometimes.
Yeah.
Oh, yes.
Yeah. Well, she's not on Dynamite.
Then I Google.
Yeah, she's not
Who's
on
this?
She's not on Dynamite. She's not on Rampage. Yeah. So I was like, oh, she manages Joey Janela. I figured that out. And then she does this flip onto a chair to, like, crush Sonny Kiss. And I was like, oh, man. Yeah, she seems like she'll be pretty good. All right, we're getting short on time here. Do you have top 5 favorite movies?
Top 5 favorite movies. King Arthur.
Love it.
Favorite. I just crank that up every time I can. Top Gun.
Yes.
Goonies.
Can't go wrong.
Nope. And then I'm big on like Back to the Futures and Indiana Jones.
Love it. Back to the Future's obviously I don't know if it's in my top 5, but it's in my top.
Yeah, every time it's on, I stop and watch.
Can't help it.
Can't help it.
And the soundtrack's amazing.
Oh, Huey Lewis. Come on.
Top 5 TV shows?
Top 5 TV shows. I do FBI and FBI's Most Wanted. AEW. Of course. Can't go wrong with that. Magnum PI.
Okay.
I did MacGyver until they canceled it.
The newer one?
Yep.
Yep.
That was actually pretty good, and then they canceled it. So, I'm big into the Food Network, so I watch a lot of cooking shows. Try and get some ideas.
I'll watch it from time to time.
Yeah, I try not to watch it when I'm laying in bed because then I get hungry.
Then it's like, oh, I gotta get up.
I gotta get a midnight snack.
Yeah. And top 5 musical artists or bands or anything.
All
like
right.
that?
Let's see. Phil Collins, number 1.
Yes.
Phil Collins. For bands, Beatles,
Oh yeah.
Beach Boys,
Okay.
Metallica,
Yep. Love them.
Five Finger Death Punch.
Yes, I do like them.
Yeah.
They've gotten a lot of flack because they're very anti-mask, I guess.
Yeah.
But I think we've said on this show, you really can't debate the Beatles' the best band of all time.
No.
I don't think that you can ever debate that.
No. You can throw Hugh Lewis in there too if you want.
Oh my God, do I love Hugh
Hugh
Lewis.
Lewis. Oh, I could listen to that for like days. Just all.
Power
Like,
of love, dun, dun, dun.
I'll get yelled at from a room across the house. Are we really listening to this again?
Oh God.
Yep. Yes, we are.
Hey, the 80s were a good time.
Oh, 80s ballads, 80s hair bands, anything 80s. I'm in. Best decade.
Yeah, I mean, I grew up in the 90s, but I love the 80s stuff. Yeah. But all right, let's get into my favorite segment. We're getting a little short on time. Blank versus blank. We got some good ones for you.
Oh boy.
First one, because we just had a dream match the other night on Dynamite. So I just want to talk about some dream matches that happened in the past too. AJ Styles or John Cena? Who would you take?
AJ Styles.
I agree. I wish he was there 10 years before he actually got signed.
Yep.
Ric Flair or Hulk Hogan?
Is there a specific age?
You could if that's how you want to describe it, yeah.
Like, are we going certain?
I'm just saying that these were two guys at the top of their eras.
So in their prime?
Yeah.
In their prime, I'd say Nature Boy.
Yeah. I honestly didn't know who he was until I might have, because I started watching WCW in 91, but he had just left because Jim Herd came in. They wanted to put an earring in him and call him Spartacus.
Oh, yes, I heard that.
Yeah. As much as I love Ric Flair, and I know Hogan's the dirtbag, I can never go against Hogan.
No?
I just can't. Hogan,
I feel like Hogan only had a few moves.
Yeah, but I was a little Hulkster. I was a Hulkster, and then when I turned WCW, I was a little Stinger.
I was a little Warrior.
I did like the Warrior too, but I mean, I remember Survivor Series '91 when Undertaker beat Hogan, sprinting in and out of the room like, "Come on!" And then Flair puts in the chair, he does the tombstone. I'm like, "No!" And I was just crying when Hogan lost. I was in 2nd grade. This match happened last night: Bryan Danielson or Kenny Omega.
Danielson. I would take Danielson.
Yeah, there's more memories I have with him. Kenny, I didn't get to see a lot of Kenny's.
Yeah,
but
I know Kenny was more like Japan, and
yeah.
So I've seen more. I've seen more Daniel Bryan. So
Yeah, but I do love what Kenny Omega's doing. He's a great heel.
Oh, he's phenomenal heel. I'll give him that.
Didn't I do that when he brought out Adam Cole? That was awesome. More responsible for the success of the New England Patriots, Tom Brady or Bill Belichick?
I'd say Tom Brady.
All right.
Could you possibly get the same out of Brady as another quarterback with Belichick?
To be determined.
I know.
Because Cam, as much as I've been a Cam defender, he was bad. Let's see what he does with Mac Jones. Because I'm already liking Mac Jones a lot. I wish my jersey would get here a little faster because I ordered it months ago. But you can only watch one for the rest of your life. The Bucks or the Cardinals?
Bucks.
Didn't you have to? Football has taken over.
I had always put baseball ahead of football.
Yeah.
But over the last few years, it's kind of flipped for me.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'd definitely say Bucks.
I know, it's kind of flipped for me too. Like, I don't know,
weird.
there's something about the NFL where it's just that one day a week and becomes a big event every week.
Yeah, I don't need to watch 7 nights of baseball.
Yeah, it's like the older you get.
And then fall asleep halfway through.
Like, it's the older you get, it really becomes that. You're like, because, I'm like, all right, the Red Sox are making a run. I'm going to have to be staying up every night now.
Yeah, and you don't know how late you're staying up.
Yeah.
At least with football, you can end in a tie.
Yeah, exactly, I'm not in my early 20s anymore either. I need to go to bed.
No spring chicken in there.
Yeah. LeBron James or Michael Jordan?
Gonna say Michael Jordan.
Fair enough. Nothing without Pippen. I always say that, but
Yeah, I mean,
well, not
they
nothing, but
I mean, I think they both whine the same, but I would say Jordan.
fair enough. I mean, I like to stir that pot a lot
I can see that.
because I think a lot of the criticism LeBron gets is not fair. But that's for another day because I got to give you the two toughest blank versus blanks that I have.
Oh, boy.
First one, your biggest fan, Chris Derby, Chris Home Run Derby, or Louis Pounds, Louis Derby.
Oh, I gotta go with Chris.
Go, all right.
Nothing against Louis,
He was our captain.
but Chris was our coach.
True. He was a fair coach, I thought.
Although he did sit me a lot.
Did he?
Oh, yeah. It's all right, though. I was used to it.
He used to hate when he's like, every Sunday, Pipes, I'm getting the text that you're going to be late. I'm like, yeah, my bad.
Mr. Responsible over
Yeah.
here.
Oh, my goodness. All right, last one. Two of our other teammates. Robbie with the blue shoes or Teddy Ballgame.
Oh, you can't make me choose these out of these guys.
But don't put your feet to the fire. We always say that. Both great guys.
They're both phenomenal people.
Yeah.
So are the Derbies.
Yeah.
Let's put it that way. Man, that's a tough one. I don't know if I could distinguish between the two of them. They both have their qualities.
We've had people just say why they like them both.
Yeah.
Before on these tough ones. Except when it was my parents and I said it to Bobby, he just said mom.
Just mom.
He didn't even think about it.
Nobody does. It's always mom.
But
No, I give them both a tie. I can give them a tie.
I love all those guys.
They're all fun to hang out with, just chill and, great friends.
Yeah, I do miss Tap House quite a bit. So hopefully, maybe you never know what the future will hold.
I think you got to get a bunch of us back into shape.
Yeah, myself included.
I think a couple years out
Yeah.
may have done us some harm.
Yeah. But Nate, I really appreciate you coming on. This has been a lot of fun. We'll have to do this again.
Definitely appreciate you inviting me.
So yeah, no, but everybody out there, keep your heads up. If you're asked to wear a mask, wear a mask. I'm saying get the vaccine. I know a lot of people are arguing about that, but I think it's for the best. But everybody have a good week, unless your name is Soapy Pre-Op. And until next week, let freedom ring.
Derby, don't stalk.